area of rotation making its way. That's looks like it's in Little River County, probably about to cross over into Sevier County here. And again, that warning does go until 2 a.m., but we're definitely still noting that area of rotation here. That would be just to the south of Winthrop, and it is going to be moving pretty close to that line there. So it looks like it will stay just to the south of you in the Locksburg area and probably just to the north of Aleen as well. So if you're right there in that Highway 71 corridor, again, get down to your place of safety. If you're in Foreman on portions of McCurtain County, especially back towards the Tom area, phone may have jolted you awake and giving that indication that that tornado warning was in effect here. No danger at the moment here in McCurtain County. So once the Weather Service trims this tornado polygon, it will probably remove those areas, but there's no danger for you there. Foreman, you're probably still getting some rain at the moment here, and we'll take a look at that just as far as the traditional radar view. Where you get the darker colors here, the pinks indicating maybe where we have some of that small hail that is falling within that portion of the storm as well. And it looks to be just some heavy rain moving through Foreman, quick burst of rain there that will be wrapping up shortly. And no doubt those folks in Horatio, your phones have gone off as well. You've got quite a bit of thunder there, but I'm not seeing anything within that portion of the line that's showing any kind of rotation. Again, that area of rotation, the green, the rain being blown towards the Shreveport radar site, the red, the rain being blown away from it. What the radar is looking at is the meteors, or the hydrometeors, or the raindrops, or any kind of hail that's in the storm. And it is picking up that area of rotation, which is now well to the northeast of Foreman and crossing just south of the Winthrop area. And again, that storm is going to continue to move to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour or so. Just got a new radar scan in. We'll give you a look. Maybe we'll put a track on that and see where that may be headed for those of you that are watching in some other areas of the Arklatex here this morning, just as far as what we're expecting with those storms as they continue to wake their way off to the northeast here. Again, our area of rotation pretty close to the Winthrop area. Let me go ahead and clear that out for you. And looks like that storm will continue to make its way off to the northeast. So we'll see if I can get a track on there, moving at about 45 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty quickly here, and even should be out of McCurtain County pretty quickly here this morning. Not getting anything to pop up there. Let me see if I go pop up on the arrow. That'll give you an indication of some of the areas that will be affected in other portions of the Arklatex here. Again, 138 for you in Locksburg. Center Point looks like about 149. Dirks at 150. If that area of rotation does hold together, would probably be closer to the Center Point area. Again, kind of following that arrow just south of Locksburg and then over towards the Center Point area. That's where we're seeing that area of rotation here, which I'm still noting. Definitely can still see that on radar where some of the rotation has been indicated here as far as the region, but we're still seeing definitely enough within this storm here that is keeping the tornado warning going. Again, that area of rotation would be crossing just over Winthrop, Arkansas, over towards Aleen as well. Let me see if there is any kind of additional information coming in from the Weather Service at the moment here, but it does look like some other damage reports coming in from McCurtain County with these storms. It appears maybe some damage over towards the Broken Bow area, and no reports of any injuries there, thankfully, but there were some homes that were damaged. So again, these storms do have a history of producing some damage over there. If you're in the Winthrop area, again, that area of rotation just to your east, I'm going to give it a few more minutes before I give you the all clear, but that storm now moving into Sevier County and eventually up into Howard County, but we're definitely still noting some rotation with that. Let me look at some other data over here where we wait for the scan to come in. So again, just a refresher here as we're coming up on 1:30 in the morning. We're definitely seeing enough rotation with this storm here that has triggered that tornado warning again across the Arklatex here. So we're looking at some of the other things that we're going to be seeing is just some brief heavy rain, maybe hearing some thunder and lightning, but the winds with the storm not severe so far tonight. I think some of the gusty winds have been maybe up to about 30 to 40 miles per hour, but we haven't had those wind gusts that we were maybe expecting over 50 miles per hour or so. So at least in the short term, these little areas of rotation that pop up will continue to be the biggest issues with these storms. So again, in McCurtain County, that danger is past here, and that area of rotation now looks like it is probably out of Little River County. So if you've been in your place of safety there in Winthrop, Arkansas, I'm going to go ahead and give you the all clear here in just a moment, but I do think our possible area of rotation has now moved into Sevier County, and we'll take a look at that. And it's still there. It has not showing up just as much as it was earlier, which is good news. So hopefully this storm continues to weaken, but I do think it's going to stay just south of the Locksburg area. But if you're watching in Locksburg, go ahead, get to that place of safety here. Of course, we'll be watching these storms as they could continue to trigger some damage. We do have the history of the damage there in McCurtain County. Don't know if that was produced by a tornado. Obviously, tomorrow the Weather Service may have some crews out there as we continue through the week just to go and look at that, see if that was wind or tornado damage. But just based on what we've seen of radar tonight, is possible. I think we maybe did see a brief tornado there in McCurtain County that may be responsible for some of the damage that we did see there. But again, these storms will continue to move to the northeast, crossing looks like Highway 71 within the next few minutes in Sevier County, then eventually heading up into Howard County. It's about 30 more minutes that warning's in effect here, and we're starting to pick up some lightning within that storm. Can be an indication maybe it's trying to strengthen somewhat, but I do still see that area of rotation here. Let me go. We'll look from the Fort Smith radar and see if we can see anything there maybe different than the Shreveport radar site. You can see it's a pretty messy look all the way from the radar in Fort Smith, and we're several thousand feet into the storm here. So again, the base of these storms is just a few hundred feet off the surface, and that's where the tornado would be located. So from the Shreveport radar site, we're several thousand feet in the air. So that rotation that we're seeing is basically in the mid-levels of the storm. But anytime you see that rotation, it can kind of push down to the ground, or it can be indicative of maybe some downburst winds that are occurring within the storms as well. So that's why we're still seeing that little signature for a tornado maybe here from the Shreveport radar site, and we'll see if anything's there. I'll put it back into motion. You can see when the warning was issued here where the greens and reds come together, and looks like that has weakened somewhat over the last few radar scans. So that's a trend I'm hoping will continue for us. But just kind of tracking this out, it looks like it is going to stay just to the south of you in Locksburg, crossing over Highway 71. I believe that's Millwood Lake right there. So if anybody's watching in the Millwood Lake area, a little portion there that may be indicated in the tornado warning, but I do believe that danger will stay well to the north of you folks there, and probably will continue to follow these arrows on the map here. So again, folks that are watching in Sevier County and Howard County, that's our next kind of call to action here, is for you folks to get to your place of safety. But it does look like our area of rotation has at least broadened out somewhat and maybe weakening, and we'll see if there's any more information coming in from anything as far as these storms. They have trimmed the warning, so McCurtain County no longer in the warning there, but again, the tornado warning does continue until 2 a.m. This morning. I mentioned there will probably be some redevelopment later today, so hopefully once these storms move through, you can get back to sleep for maybe a few hours as things quiet out. But some of the forecast models have been hinting at maybe some of this thunderstorm activity popping back up, maybe as we get even to about 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning here. So we'll give you a look at the traditional radar view. We wait for a little more information or another scan to come out on this particular storm here. But just looking from the Shreveport radar site, you can see there are some more storms up into Sevier and eventually Howard County. Storms here not severe, but producing quite a bit of thunder and lightning. So noisy storms for folks that may be watching here in Gillum and eventually up towards the Athens and the Dirks area. Based on where that area of rotation is at the moment, I don't believe the storm that triggered the tornado warning will pass close to Dirks. But sometimes what we see with these storms is they will reorganize. So that area of rotation, which is now going to be located just to the south of Locksburg, may try to reorganize in the storm somewhat. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, but nothing would indicate that that has re-strengthened here at the moment. Sometimes we'll see if I can get any more just street names. We'll take you down to just a super close view here, but it looks like Salt Lick Road, maybe Brook Ridge Road. I do believe that area of rotation is going to be passing again just to the south of Lockburgs. We have Cotton Road, Highway 71. If you're anywhere in that vicinity or know anybody in that vicinity, just make sure they are in their place of safety here. And again, anytime we get a tornado warning, we'll see this a lot over the next few months. Want to get down to the lowest level of your building, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And now that we're into severe weather season, just something to go over with your family, even at work. Just kind of identify that place of safety so you can get there quickly when these tornado warnings are issued. But again, we're still seeing a bit of rotation there with that storm fairly close to Salt Lick Road. Looks like Begum Road and Cotton Road eventually crossing over Highway 71, and it will probably make its way, if it does hold together, to to the east of Locksburg, eventually crossing over Highway 371. Again, the motion of this storm is off to the northeast, and you can see new radar update would put that area of rotation very close to looks like Begum Road and Brookridge Road at the moment. We know we mentioned those areas a little bit earlier. And as far as anything going on in the Locksburg area, you are in the tornado warning there, but I do believe that area of rotation has stayed well to the south of you at the moment. Here you can see the lightning strike. So again, some pretty loud storms. So we really haven't seen anything. We'll see if we have any hail that's being indicated with the storm here at the moment. Any kind of hail track popping up, and it doesn't look like we're seeing that just as far as the Shreveport radar site. This is pretty neat. We can touch on the threat button here and kind of look at what some of the threats may be, and it's showing some pretty heavy rain here. Earlier, these storms are producing about 1-inch rainfall rates per hour, and now we're getting about 2 inches per hour. Fortunately, they're moving very quickly, so it doesn't look like flooding will be a big concern for us tonight or tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon, if these storms keep going, we could definitely see some flash flooding instances. But again, if you're watching here in Arkansas, the storm that we had been monitoring still showing a little bit of rotation here from the Shreveport Weather Service site, and we'll go ahead and put that back into motion. Watching that area where the greens and reds come together there, we'll put that into motion again just over the last 15 minutes or so. You can see when the warning was issued, that area of rotation did broaden out. Looked like it did weaken somewhat, but still noting that on radar here, eventually crossing Highway 71. So again, if you're in the Locksburg area, that will stay just to the south of you. Ben Lamond, if you're there, it looks like that area of rotation is going to be very close to you, and eventually making its way up into Howard County there, staying just to the north of the Millwood Lake area. And then if you're watching in Nashville, maybe a close call if this storm. Sometimes they'll stay further to the south here, so we'll put you on alert there in Nashville and Center Point. Those will be the next locations here as we see this storm move into Howard County, where we potentially could see some issues. Just looking for some more information, but again, that warning when it was originally issued did include some portions of McCurtain County, but the danger there has passed in McCurtain as well as Little River counties. The storm now located here in Sevier County, where 59 eventually meets up with 71 there, and then eventually crossing over towards Highway 371. So just as far as those of you that may be joining us, again, that tornado warning in effect until 2 a.m. this morning. These storms did produce some damage as they moved through McCurtain County, and they're part of a kind of broader area of storms that have been moving through portions of Texas as well as Oklahoma this morning. So go ahead and just kind of zoom out, show you what's happening with those storms as far south as basically the Red River in Ashdown. But this is really the only ball game in town here as far as the Arklatex. We do have some rain approaching Texarkana. Anybody in Texarkana may be up watching us. You may have heard some thunder in the distance there, just a few rain showers moving through, but nothing severe expected there. And again, portions of Howard County getting some of the thunder and lightning. The area of the storm that's producing the possible tornado there really hasn't moved into Howard County yet, but it will within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then think of your place of safety here. And then if you're watching in Howard County, you'll need to get to that again with this area of rotation passing through. Some history of damage with these storms again this morning over in McCurtain County, but nothing confirmed as far as the tornado yet. But again, these storms have been weakening somewhat, but tornadoes look to be the main issue here probably for the next 30 to 45 minutes. They are racing pretty quickly to the northeast, so you can see the storm just in a few minutes has almost made its way across Sevier County here, and then moving into Howard County in Arkansas. Still seeing from the Shreveport radar site enough there, just on the radar mode here, indicating that where we could have basically that tornado maybe close to the ground there. That would be crossing Highway 71 here. Ben Lamond, that's where we're seeing that possible area of rotation. It's going to be very close to Highway 27 here, well to the south of Locksburg. Again, I mentioned Locksburg just because sometimes the area of rotation can reorganize within these. So within the broader warning there, be in your place of safety if you're anywhere here along Highway 71 on the map. And it looks like, let's see if I can get some of the roads to pop up again. Out ahead of that, looks like maybe Dellinger Road. Anybody in that Dellinger Road area? Cowlingsville, that storm could eventually be very close to you, probably staying that area of rotation very close to you in Cowlingsville. So again, get to your place of safety. Eventually over towards Shiloh, Arkansas. So I do believe that area rotation will be located between 27 and Highway 371 here, probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, as that storm eventually does make its way into McCurtain County. That's from the Shreveport. I'll Just occasionally want to flip it over to the Fort Smith radar site and see if that will give us a better look at what's going on within the storm here. But as you see, it's a pretty messy look from the radar there in Fort Smith, Arkansas. So we'll go back to the Shreveport radar site, which has been giving us kind of the best look at that storm. And you can see where the storm is kind of bowing out there, maybe indicative of some gusty winds. Kind of interesting to note, we didn't have a severe thunderstorm warning for the winds on these storms. We had a special weather statement that was out from the Weather Service indicating the winds could be maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour, which can cause some damage. But in order for a thunderstorm to trigger a severe thunderstorm warning, the winds need to be gusting almost 60 miles per hour or above, which we just haven't seen with these storms. But anytime you get some of these weak tornadoes, sometimes the wind speed can be up to 80, even 100 miles per hour. So again, nothing to mess around with here. So that's why we're urging everybody to take the storm seriously and get to that place of safety. Even if you get some 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, it can cause some damage here, some trees to fall over. So again, if you're anywhere within that tornado warning here, which does go for another 20 minutes or so as the storm will be moving out of Sevier County and into Howard County in Arkansas, please be in that place of safety here as we go through the next little bit. Let's see what's happening. The tornado warning has been canceled, it looks like, for portions of Hempstead, Howard, Little River, and Sevier County. So the Weather Service just kind of seeing that was broadly rotating there. So they have allowed that warning to expire, which is frankly some very good news for us as far as what we're seeing. And you can see they just kind of downturn, at least in the intensity, and that rotation looks like it has broadened out somewhat as it's moving through Sevier County. So at the moment, it does not look like we have any tornado warnings in effect here. I'll just kind of zoom back out and give you an overall look at what's happening. You can see that red polygon dropping off the map. So folks here that have been sheltering from the storm, whether it's Little River, Sevier, or Howard counties, looks like that possible area of rotation has dissipated. You're still looking at some thunder and lightning, but you'll notice there's really not much behind that. So I'm hoping you can get back to sleep and get some much needed sleep here over the next few hours. We know it hasn't been a lot of fun riding these storms out. We are on the lookout maybe for some redevelopment later this morning in these areas. Obviously, we'll be here on NBC 6 at 5 o'clock this morning, just kind of breaking down the severe weather threat for the rest of the day here. But again, that tornado warning in Arkansas, that has now been canceled early. That was in effect until 2, but the Weather Service seeing that the area of rotation there is really broadened out and the danger has dissipated somewhat with that storm. So we'll obviously be watching things. You see some more storms back in Dallas that may eventually work towards us as we continue through the morning, but it looks like you'll get a nice break from the storms once they move through here, so hopefully you can get back to sleep. But we'll be here at NBC 6 in the forecast center, just kind of keeping an eye on things throughout the morning. We do expect more of these storms, not only this morning, possibility that we do see some additional severe weather, including the threat for tornadoes this afternoon as well. Looks like it may start out a little earlier in the afternoon for folks here, and then those storms may push south through Texas and Louisiana as we go through the afternoon and evening later today, as it were. So we'll be here kind of watching things. Again, the danger with this storm has dissipated for the time being. We'll send you back to programming, but we'll be here throughout the night to keep you safe.